Most modern iconography around Cupid features a small, naked, and winged cherub with curly hair toting a bow and arrow. He's advertised as a god of romantic love. He's characterized as a mischievous but otherwise innocent child that shoots unsuspecting persons with golden arrows to make them fall hopelessly in love. If he feels especially obnoxious, he might shoot one target with his classic golden arrow and the other with a lead-tipped arrow that fills said target with hate and disgust rather than romantic love. Cupid's antics are supposed to be considered goofy and charming. One famous myth attributed to how unaware Cupid can be about his arrows. Cupid gets stung by bees and runs crying to his mother Venus. She tells him that how he feels now are how his targets feel when they've been shot by his arrows. Other common associations with Cupid: he's usually a complement or counterpart to his mother Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. She's generally shown as a single parent. If there's a parent besides Venus, it's usually Mars, the god of war, or Vulcan, the god of artisans. Cupid is the most well known out of what siblings he has. There's anywhere from 2 other siblings that represent other aspects of love, or a whole series of fellow winged love gods known as the Erotes. Interestingly, the small and childlike depiction of Cupid has origins rooted more in Roman myths and Renaissance art than the original Greek myths. Before Cupid, there was Eros, the Greek god of love and sex, where Cupid is associated more with desire, or very specifically, romantic love. Eros represented several different kinds of love, from platonic to familial to physical lust and attraction. He embodied how complicated and varied love between persons can be. Eros was depicted as a very attractive, strong, lean, muscular and winged young man, someone that men and women alike lusted after. He's usually more of a narrative device or bit player, but he is a universally accepted force by gods and mortals alike. He can make anyone fall in love. Almost no one is exempt from becoming a potential target except specific virginal gods. Artemis and Hestia are a strict exception from Eros' tomfoolery. Some scholars suspect that the more childlike Cupid popularized by Roman myths stems from misogyny. Eros is considered formidable and powerful. If he's considered the son of Ares, it's a thematically potent mix of love and war. How love makes people feel powerful, overcomes obstacles, and celebrates very open, vulnerable emotions. Eros stands on even footing with an undeniably powerful and masculine god. Though even as Ares' son, he's still a secondary or complementary figure to Aphrodite. When Eros is transformed into Cupid, he is more palatable to a society that places strong emphasis on patriarchal values and indomitable masculinity. He's a child. He's small and seemingly helpless. It makes sense that he'd be under his mother's jurisdiction. More importantly, child Cupid minimizes what role or power Venus holds otherwise. While baby Cupid has the most iconic imagery, some American cartoons feature their own take on Cupid. Enter OKKO's take on Cupid. This Cupid is a big, boxy, and muscular character pulled from classic manly man heroes in 1980s action movies. He's an adult man that physically appears to be somewhere in his mid to late 30s, a stark contrast to ancient Greece's prized, youngish men. Not only that, but he has a prominent forehead, very closely cropped and short brown hair versus the luscious curls both Eros and baby Cupid have. This Cupid's rough and rugged masculinity is further emphasized by his fairly aggressive attitude and ridiculous heart-shaped bazooka-adjacent blaster. Despite these hallmarks, he's wearing a short pink toga and has a prominent love tattoo on his upper arm. While said tattoo could easily be incorporated on another played straight action hero character, that tattoo is usually a nod to the acceptable masculine soft spot that he loves his mom. Here, it's a very brazen visual marker about Cupid's full devotion to romantic love. It's dubious if this version of Cupid carries the classic arrows. He barges in and causes property damage with his love bazooka, but there isn't a clear on-screen follow-up of whether it causes targets to fall in love, or it's just an obnoxious accessory. Given how the episode plays out, I'm leaning towards it being an obnoxious accessory. Despite his entrance, Cupid places strong value on open, honest communication. After he forces Rad and Enid to relive their awkward first date as middle schoolers, he criticizes Rad's tactless dude bro behavior. All of Rad's double down and shows of machismo are framed or commented on as not the right call. It's another story tackling how much of Rad's character falls prey to the trappings of toxic masculinity, but it's counterbalanced by the subversive, surprisingly positive masculine example Cupid portrays. While Mr. Gar is another positive male role model, Cupid has more obvious ties to feminine interests. He's a manly man that happily associates with fluffy pink hearts and red roses, as much as his ridiculous, oversized bazooka. Even the first date wrestling match frames the match as more of a conversation than an actual fight. Since Rad and Enid refuse to address the issue directly, Cupid sets up a situation that creates lower stakes. Concerns are accentuated with the verbal jab, a feint, a hero move. Rad and Enid haven't learned how to communicate in an honest, vulnerable way. It requires kindness and patience that Enid feels like Rad doesn't deserve, and that Rad feels conflicts with his macho man persona. Talking things out isn't as approachable as fighting, so reframing the conversation as a friendly themed sparring match makes things more approachable. Presumably, this Cupid helps romantic couples work out rough patches or ultimately getting together through a sparring match or fight that fits their respective style. He's interested in playing mediator. While fighting is involved, he wants an ultimately peaceful, respectful solution. At the end of the episode, he comments on learning the importance of platonic love. While Cupid respecting any and all forms of pair bonding feels like a given, he is more known as a representation of or avatar for romantic love. He's responsible for romance. It's actually pretty powerful to have this Cupid comment on learning about platonic love. It's commentary on the higher premium placed on romantic relationships compared to any other kinds of dynamics or kinds of love. It's a nod towards the very real, organic shifts some people have from an attempt at romantic relationships to a better fit and stronger relationship as just friends. While this Cupid has more traditionally masculine gender expression, he considers open, vulnerable expression important and is willing to learn, change, and grow. He's an example of a bridge between what's considered rugged, classic masculinity with a healthier, more confident vision of what a man can be like. In a nutshell, this is my favorite Americanized take on Cupid. He's a mix between what Eros originally represented with how watered down modern Cupid is, and a figure that addresses some of the bigger cultural issues around masculinity.